our members aren't here, especially our visitor host teams, because this is going to be money for them. And the other thing, I put it in the chat, but I'm pretty sure that if you come in like after someone posts something in the chat in Zoom, you don't see it. So what I also did was created a little workbook from these slides. But what I'll also do is share these slides as well. But the workbook is basically the same as the slides. So, um, but what I decided to do this month is really take a look. Um, it's some of the things that I've been doing for the BNI tips that Benjamin sends out, and walking through how to do them with some more basic, fundamental levels of AI instead of me going, um, probably more advanced than anyone wants me to. So, but if you ever want to geek out with me, I do have some higher level stuff that I go into. So, how can you make getting in contact with your visitors easier? And build those relationships. So either you can refer to them, have them join your chapter, they can refer to you, even better. So I'd rather have a visitor who refers me business than a new chapter member. But that could also be why Luana is so small right now. So, why follow up matters? They're warm connections right now. They come to the meeting, they hear a little bit about your business, but then they never hear from you again. You don't connect with them on LinkedIn, you don't send them an email. It's like ghosting you after that first date. And if you don't follow up with people, and the science says it's 12 touches. And it also sends the message you matter. And that's what BNI is about, those meaningful relationships and saying, hey, you mattered to me. I want to be in your circle. I want to hear what you're doing. And hopefully you want to hear what I'm doing. So be the green plant, not the sad, sad other plant. So, why are you going to reach out to ChatGPT? I know with me, I sit there with writer's block. Oh, what am I going to say? Am I going to offend them? Am I saying too much? Am I saying not enough? So you build out ChatGPT as your digital assistant that can help you time and time again to craft that professional, engaging message. Because be ChatGPT knows BNI very well. You can teach it your business by loading in your website. And honestly, put the guest's website in there too to teach it more about the guest, and have AI figure out how you can refer customers to each other, who those good connections will be between the two of them, two of you rather, instead of racking your brain over it, going, I don't know who I'm going to refer them to. And again, higher level stuff is like if you ever want to do a one-to-one with me, like making your email box into a little language learning model to deep dive into all of your contacts to really build a database. But again, I promise I wouldn't nerd out too much on you all. So simple. You take the prompt. All the prompts are in the workbook I put in the chat. AI drafts the message. You add a little bit of your personality to it, And I'm going to show you how you can program the AI to add that personality to it as well. And you got it out in minutes instead of sitting there with, I don't know what to say to this person. So, three-touch follow-up sequence and how to program your Gmail to do it for free. That after the meeting, you write the emails, put them in Gmail, schedule them out, and then hopefully they're on your calendar sooner than later, and you don't forget to follow up. There's some free CRMs out there like System.io that you could use just for your BNI to have that follow-up with your visitors. And there, again, this is something else on the side. I show people how to use and build custom GPTs to track all of their contacts and their business cards. And go into um, BNI Connect and people you want to be referral partners with, take a picture of their profile. Hopefully they filled it out, and have your CRM automate that just with a picture saying, hey, I want to connect. So that way you are saving more time for the one-to-ones instead of inviting people to the one-to-ones. So this is the ideal schedule. Same day. Thank them for showing up. Make them feel special that you're like, hey, remember you, remember me. Really had a great time learning about your business. Then you don't want to be that person that texts like, I'm single, so, I've dated recently, that person who texts you immediately after the date, and then an hour, goodbye, and the next morning. You don't want to be that bugaboo. So 2 to 3 days later. So they're still on your mind, but you're not stalking them because there's a fine line there. And then that 7 day, hey, let's meet again. I probably have some people that, especially if you're doing this, like pre-built out, save that referral for them for that 7 day. Hey, I thought of Heather and she'd make a great contact for you. Let's do coffee so we can get to know each other a little bit better. And I can go into my electronic Rolodex and find some other people that would be amazing for you to connect with. So then you've slowly boiled the frog and hopefully they stay in the pot instead of jumping out, running away, and putting do not contact on all of your emails and text messages. So these are some copy and paste. They are in your workbook. So you're giving ChatGPT, and oh man, before this, I actually looked up what GPT stood for. It was general, basically, the layman's term is like spell check. It was guessing the next thing that you're going to do, but there were some fancy long words in there. So, anywho, that's on my book to my dance card to remember what GPT stands for. Yes, generative pre-trained transformer. Thank you, Christine. So you give it a job. 3 friendly professional follow-up emails. You visited my BNI chapter. So you've given it a role. Then tell it what you want the 3 emails to be about. Now, I would also add your website and that person's website to help personalize it a little bit more. And then add a tone. Which tone is more like you? So it's not giving out AI blah blah and it sounds like something terribly written. And remember, when you're cutting and pasting it, definitely don't cut and paste the bottom part that says, oh, would you like a variation on this? Or the top part where it's like, oh, I wrote this email for you. That's considered really bad form when you're using ChatGPT as your assistant. It would be like back in the old days when your secretary drafted some stuff for you and you just sent it with all of their notes and their name at the end instead of yours. So the bonus prompt that I included, so to make it more than, oh, the carbon paper on the back. Oh, I remember the smell too of the other type where it was like purple ink and they would crank them out to make the copies. Oof, nasty. So this is what you do. You ask ChatGPT to interview you to help you create contact or content that sounds more like you, your voice, your personality. Now, whenever you ask it to do a big task like this, always ask me 20 questions one at a time. Otherwise, it will spit out 20 questions at you, and that's not fun for anyone. And then you answer one, and then it's like it goes into it, and you press enter. It's a whole mess. Just ask it to do one at a time. It will make your life easier when working with ChatGPT when you ask it to do, or any language learning model. I know a lot of people like Gemini or Perplexity is a new favorite of mine. Or Claude is another great one for writing and now for coding too. But I digress. So again, you're giving it a job, 20 questions, and what it should learn about you. So it's not learning about your bedtime routine or your dietary to help you create a menu. It's creating an AI that knows how to write like you. And then you put that, you can either have it in ChatGPT and put it in the prompt and say, create a prompt. So my ChatGPT, and you put it in settings so it always has that personality when it writes. Or you can just copy and paste it in a Google Doc and just add it to whenever you're writing. There's a lot of different ways that you can hold on to this for later. And it does remember what you put in there. So, but I find if there's something really specific that you want it to act on, having that in the chat again and pre-programming it, um, it's a much stronger outcome. So, how do you schedule them in Gmail for free? So, honestly, and this is where AI lies to you, it was telling me to use these third-party softwares to get Google to send out emails later. And it said it was free, but all of these third-party softwares, it was free trials. But we all have Gmail. Well, most of us have Gmail. Also, if you're on Microsoft, they have this in there too. So, but you go into your Gmail, instead of clicking on send, there's a little arrow next to it that will open a menu, and then you can schedule to send it out. And that's not only with doing this, I find it too, if I'm working on a Sunday and I don't want people to know I'm working on Sunday, I want them to stay in my business hours. And I also don't want them to feel they have to reply to me if they have these like, oh, I gotta get back to it. I saw this, it popped up. No, let's do it during working hours and let's respect everyone's time. This makes it a little bit easier to schedule that out for you and have work happen during work hours, even when you're catching up during non-work hours. So, System.io is another great CRM, customer relationship management system, and it's free up to 2,000 contacts. So, if you've got a bunch of business cards that you haven't put in anywhere, um, again, get with me later, but I have figured out some ways to help get them in there, and then they're organized and you can either download them into a CSV file that you can put them wherever you want, and you're using this as a free location to upload them, or you just have email sequences go out there just for your BNI. And, you know, the great thing with all of these freemium services, we're not going to talk about data privacy because you use freemium, there's no data privacy. But with freemium, it's like, oh, this is my email for my Mary Kay business. This is my email for my AI business. This is my email for my dog grooming business. So you could basically have three System.io accounts all with 2,000 contacts, and then you don't have to pay for System.io. And honestly, for the upgraded version, it's $17 a month. So it's really affordable for the powerhouse that it can do for you. Um, but I digress. This is another way that you can build out a system that you're automating your workflow instead of, oh, I forgot to get in touch with so and so that visited the chapter. I wonder why they didn't join. Well, no one emailed them or invited them to come back or made them feel like part of the team or part of the family, and they just feel sad and lonely and ignored. But you can fix that with AI and a good system. So, practice time. Um, you can open ChatGPT or any of the systems that you like to use. Everyone seems to have their own favorite. Um, what I tell people too is like, if they're using something like Grammarly, you can always say, ChatGPT, act like Grammarly and do this for me, because it knows some of those other programs that are specialized, and then you're saving a couple of bucks on some of these other programs for AI. So, and then schedule them, organize them. And if you guys are willing to share, we could read a couple of the AI emails for either a real visitor or a fake visitor that we have. Anyone want to do a little show and tell with whatever they've created?
I'm looking for one of mine now. I've created this already in the past,
Cool.
and we send a note out the day of the meeting and also a link to all of our in case they didn't take notes or save the chat, uh,
Mm-hmm.
our business cards, to where it's got a picture of everybody and their business card and their contact info with that. with the people. So I'll look for that.
That is so what you can do with that is you put that in the in Chat GPT and you put their uh website in there and you can have it understand their business, understand your whole chapter, and then make recommendations for who would be the best person for them to follow up with. And you haven't had to do any of the research. You've just pressed an easy button with something you've already created that works really well and also saves them time from actually clicking through all of the links and get your chapter members some referrals quickly off the bat. And so, and that's the most important thing too. They talk about AI slop being out there. It's the that's what they call spam in the AI world. Read the email. Would you open it? Does it sound too salesy? Does it sound weird? Does it sound like a robot wrote it? So that should be honestly always your gauge when you're doing stuff with AI. Would I use this? Um, how would it feel if someone sent this to me? Does it feel like just a form letter that got sent out, or does it feel personalized to me? And that's why when you use some of this stuff, like even their LinkedIn profile, if you take that and put it in there, it helps really personalize it to make them feel like this email is to them without you having to do the heavy lifting because you've taught the AI about you, about them, and why you should connect.
Hmm. Yeah, that's good stuff. I got the letter pulled up. What it doesn't do is tie them to one of our members, which I think would be a great add to what we already do.
So the challenge is use it for your next three visitors. You've got the workbook. And honestly, the other thing you can do is throw the workbook in Chat GPT too and say, uh, help me write three emails based on this document from Gamma, or if you download it as a PDF. So that's the real lazy way to use AI. You don't even put in the prompts, you don't do anything. You put in something that's pre-done for you and say, hey, read this document and help me do this. So it takes away some of the need to do the fancier prompting or um, asking questions. But it is a skill that I think we're all going to have to at least get a little familiar with. Like we had to learn how to use Google, we had to learn how to connect modems, uh, how to wear ear protection when the modem was like, um, this is just going to be another skill set that will make our lives easier. I mean, I remember when I didn't have to look words up in the dictionary anymore and the computer could just guess. Now, I'm slightly dyslexic, so the computer never guessed really well for me. So I wound up having a dictionary for a lot longer than most. But the better spell check got, it was a life changer for me. And the other thing is the grammar when it rewrites stuff for you is always perfect and you don't have to worry. Did I use the right tense? Is this the right way that it should be? Blah, blah, blah. It is truly taking the OG of spell and grammar check from Microsoft Word and putting it on a rocket ship. So, like any good BNI, there's always a quote, and I think AI made this up. Follow up is the bridge from visitor to referral partner. But I'll take this made up quote any day of the week. So, and that's how you can use AI to generate something that sounds like you, that's much more human centered and doesn't sound like a form letter, like AI slop, to really personalize it for each person without taking up half of your day. And it's an assistant, it's not a replacement because it will make things up. And if you're not familiar with a topic, guaranteed. So, funny story, I was doing that book club for BNI, and we're taking a break this month and we're going to look at different times because it's was not very well attended. But the first version of it made up all of these books. None of them were real. Did I bother to fact check it? No. But do I have a list of books that I want to write or send over to someone and say, dude, this would be the best business book that everyone needs that does network working and referrals. So, all right. And I like to do this for about a half an hour and then just take questions because no one wants to listen to me ramble on for a full hour. And
Hey,
I'm
Heather.
I'm,
Sorry.
I'm actually going to stop recording it too for the question and answer section so we can be a little more just talk freely. So